everybody. My name is Rebecca Newkirk, and I am a licensed clinical social worker in New Mexico, Virginia, and DC. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about toxic positivity. What is it? How to know if you are engaging in it, either with yourself or other people, and why is it a problem? So let's get right into it. Toxic positivity, the way that I would define it, is when we are asking people to basically dismiss or invalidate their negative feelings because we feel like they are going to feel better if they just look at the bright side of things. So some examples of what that might look like is, a lot of people have it a lot worse than you. Or why don't you spend some time focusing on the things that you're grateful for, or notice the things that are really going well. It might look like if somebody comes to you, or if you go to somebody and you're talking about something that was really frustrating or an experience that was really difficult for you. And the first thing that the person says is, well, at least. That's toxic positivity. That's not helpful, right? That's not validating. It's not part of why it's not helpful. So it's usually coming from this perspective of we're brain training here, right? Like neuroplasticity. You get more of what you focus on, and you see more of what you're noticing, and so on and so forth. And that is true. But at the same time, it doesn't help if it's fake and it doesn't help if it's forced, and it doesn't help if it's invalidating. What ends up happening is we start pretending, and we start pretending that we're feeling something that we're not. We start convincing ourselves out of our feelings and trying to talk to ourselves about why we should, right? That's always a problem. Should actually be feeling something else. It's not the same as coming from maybe a mindfulness perspective, moving our attention to a different aspect, right? That's a different way to talk about it that, in my opinion, can sometimes be helpful. It's not about invalidating the negative, but it's okay, well, you can't do anything about that. So maybe let's spend some time or energy moving your attention, using it like a muscle, and attending to and really focusing on the things that are working or do feel good. The problem is we can't do that when we're not ready. We can't go straight into noticing the positive or spending time enhancing the positive when we're still in a space of being really angry, really frustrated, really disappointed, or really upset about something. And frankly, those are part of the spectrum of the human experience. All of the feelings are part of the spectrum of the human experience. And it's important to us. It's a message. It's communicating something to us. And therefore, we need to listen. The metaphor that I use with this a lot of the time, and those of you who know me have probably heard me say this before, is it's kind of like when you're really hungry. It hurts, right? It doesn't feel good to be really hungry, but it's important because it's communicating to you that your body needs food. And so it's important for us to respond to that feeling. Now, that's a physical feeling, although emotional experiences also have physical manifestations if we're paying attention. Some of us will feel that more than others of us, but it's there for all of us. So when we're sad, when we're grieving, when we're angry, when we're indignant, when we're frustrated, or just feeling hopeless, that is communication from our body about what's happening in our environment. And the first step to being able to move through it is actually acknowledge it and validate it. Either to yourself, which is a skill which can be taught. We can learn how to do that, although it's not necessarily an easy skill to learn, or also for other people, which again is a skill. We can learn how to do this. We can cultivate the ability to do that for other people. And I guess I'm going to ask you, I'm going to challenge you, if you'd like, to practice that with somebody in your life this week, and just to kind of notice when they're coming to you, and maybe your instinct is well, at least it could have been a lot worse, or it's a lot worse for a lot of other people, you have a lot of really good things going on. That's your instinct, okay? And just kind of see if you can breathe through that a little bit, and practice with yeah, I can see that you're really frustrated. That's a super frustrating situation. I'm sorry that you're going through that. Or, that sounds really hard. I totally see where you're coming from. That sounds really, really difficult. Just try it and see what happens. And I think what you'll notice in a lot of cases, what I notice in a lot of cases, is that when we give people space and permission to just be whatever they are and to feel whatever they're feeling, they're able to move through it much more effectively, and they're able to get to a space where they are able to have gratitude, and they are able to see and focus on and attend to the things that are working, and they're able to get to a much more empowered place inside of what they're feeling. But to me, it needs to be framed a little bit differently. It needs to be communicated a little differently. And it's not the first step. It's not the first place that we go. Talking to a depressed person and saying like, wow, you really need to like get your head on straight and like stop thinking about things like the way that you have been is super damaging. That's really, really toxic. So yeah, that's toxic positivity in my perspective. So if you have any thoughts, if you have any comments, please leave them in below, and I'll talk to you guys soon.